Hello, queer stars. We're here to talk about Pluto, shadow work, and intimacy because I want you to have healthy love, sexuality, and identity. I want you to have healthy magic. We talk about dark magic, black magic, but all it is the shame spiral that catches our power and the transformation and initiation we're in to reveal that and steal it back from the king within our own empire, kill all false prophets of empire, and establish a prosperity garden inside and outside. If that's our MO and our mission, I want us to look at the compost element of this scenario because it's usually the shit people don't deal with. You need to turn that and transmute it into the garden. There's literal ways that we're gonna look at that in astrology. We have maps to our attachment styles. They are the beautiful keys and wisdoms that we have of our ways of relating in intimacy that do get bound up in the trauma-informed places of intimacy and desire that we find we develop potential for intimacy, for connection, for love. Whether or not we're open or closed to love and a yes or a no, this place, it guards our survival and our subconscious patterns there. We're called triggers. They do affect us based on what we've experienced as traumatic and what our ancestors have experienced as traumatic, especially our parents raised us at and reenacted through us. In intimacy, especially when sexuality is involved, we're going to be getting into those areas of our subconscious and acting out patterns. We may find that we have parts of us that don't come out with other relationships for good, bad, or indifferent. And so we're going to look at all that. We're going to look at the shadow side of power and powerlessness because I want us to have healthy love and intimacy, which reveals the most power, but also the most powerlessness. So we're going to have trauma issues come up, triggers of trapped power around sexuality and identity and intimacy, and whether or not you can or cannot love. There's going to be all kinds of ego and soulful experiences that we have. And I want us to look at how astrology is a map to support how we can understand that. There's four main attachment styles: secure and disorganized, which is also known as anger avoidant. It's somebody who has a real push-pull thing and like, I like it, but then as soon as you want more of it, I shut down and get angry about it and stuff. It's disorganized. Usually secure and disorganized are opposite in terms of the chart because they're polarities. And they're the two parts of us that hold that. So whatever was secure, of course, the opposite of that would just be the security just going and getting shattered. And in the shattering, there's something transforming there. There's something that becomes disorganized. And in a disorganized attachment style, there's something being really worked out about that trauma. And then square those. On the modes, we're looking at crossroads relationships of opposition and challenge, okay? And so I'm going to put these four attachment styles on the crossroads pattern in the chart. There are three of them. Each mode of astrology, which is a certain kind of energy, all has a crossroads of the four elements on it. We have three of these crossroads in the wheel of the astrology. And on the crossroads, we usually have this dynamic I find in all of the different modes, a dynamic of these crossroads, okay? So whatever is secure is usually the earth sign on there, which is going to be Taurus, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. I've got so much coming through today. I'm trying to get it all out, and my apologies. It's going to be mostly secure attachment is held through the earth signs in the crossroads dynamic and in the chart. So you've got Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are usually holding down that in your chart. If you have major placements in that, they're really going to be trying to do that. They're going to be able to give that. They're going to be looking for that. They're going to be coming from that. It just sets up its own entitlement, its own power dynamic, its own assumptions. There's different virtues and toxic things about being secure attached. I'm just going to say that. Opposite to that is this disorganized attached, which is it's actually a much more creative process to get to love and intimacy and survive. This is what the water signs hold. This is opposite. This is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The foundational one I talk about is Taurus, Scorpio, because it's what you have in the garden is secure in Taurus in the springtime of Beltane, and by fall it's dying. And so Scorpio always holds the opposite gate in terms of Beltane and Samhain. Those are the ancestral Celtic holidays that hold these energies of the spring and the fall. And these are transmuting a real primal experience of survival. So whatever you have in you in your chart in Taurus or Scorpio is going to be showing the story of that for you and your ancestors. Scorpio, at the death gates, especially, of course, as we know through all those holidays that appear then, like Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, there's going to be an ancestral presence coming in through the Pluto gate in disorganized attachment style. You're going to be looking for, motivated for, and motivated by ancestral trauma. You're going to have a lot of your own karma and experience to be exploring the world with an ancestral trauma informed landscape of intimacy. So you may have it with, if you have a strong Scorpio and Pluto in your chart, you're going to have more of that disorganized attachment, trauma, fearful, avoidant dynamic in stuff. And look at the placements and aspects and see, is it conjuncting certain main planets of identity and personal planets, right? Is it squaring them or opposing them? And look at, if you have waters, is that, how does that affect, how do you relate to disorganized attachment, fearful avoidant attachment? You might want to check it out and talk to that part of your chart like that. See if you can deepen your relationship with that fearful avoidant one that's showing you the complexities of the dance to get to love. And it may be mysterious process that you get to reveal through that pain journey to find remedies, and it's beautiful, right? You may reveal magic, power in new ways, challenge you through a transformative process, right? To look for hidden things. That's what the disorganized attachment style is good at, is actually gifting you the process and space to be difficult in it and to not have it, and have it be all messed up and scattered and hard to find and figure out. And in that journey, you have a deep, deep treasure map of intimacy. So can you embrace the good sides of it? And for water signs and aspects of that, characterizations of a water sign experience in astrology, of disorganized attachment and dissolution and all of the strange shifty waters, can this be beautiful and magical? Can it be creative, right? Can it be good art? Can it make good music? Right? It does. This is the part of us that births that. So honor those charts and houses and planets and signs that do reflect these water energies of disorganized attachment. That fearful avoidant dance is the dance of the artist, and the insane clown, tip the clown. Don't kill the messenger. We need the watery ones. This is water world. It's the realm of emotions. Of course, it's supposed to be weird and disruptive and chaotic and an anarchy. It's like a beautiful magic. So, anyways, we got those two, water and earth. So those are on our polarities. See, within each mode of cardinal, fixed, and mutable, we've got, different ones of this. For the mutables, we've got Pisces, Virgo. I showed Taurus and Scorpio as the fixed one, and then we've got Capricorn and Cancer as the other one. So what your parents set up with Capricorn and Cancer, your family of origin, is going to affect the Leo Aquarian side, your ego going out into the world of community, and it's going to affect, that Earth and water axis of Virgo Pisces, which is going to show you on a subconscious level what you think you can dream up and how that dreams you, your whole relationship with healing and love in a more magical, magnetic sense. Spiritual sense, what this brings you. So we've got water and earth and the different attachments there. Fearful, avoidant / disorganized, another word to say that, and secure. And they battle and hold each other. Of course, they're a pair. They hold each other, and the part that's so sure and secure, earth, needs to hold this water part that's not. And it's an important way to understand both attachment styles and elements, and those parts of us that are like that, and just come into their gifts, right? It sounds nice, the secure one, right? But what kinds of trappings do we see about earth signs? They're too caught up in that, right? And it can trap you, make you stodgy and set up and don't change and all this. And also there's an entitlement to it and a curse of expectation. So what is possessiveness? No, it's quite possessed earth with its knowledge of what's true and finite, certitude. Well, that'll kill religion, don't you know? It's opposite to Scorpio, which was the gates of mystery. So don't be afraid to die and change, The disorganized attachment, the fearful avoidant one, often a death of an intimacy in a relationship will happen when you meet that one in there. True love, though, really powerful love, healing love that gets even more soulful, is when you can actually integrate that one. So I would suggest that. Yeah. The waters, the Pluto dynamics are to be integrated. Let's make friends with the villains and integrate them and live our best lives, like for real, like we haven't been taught. That's why I'm on here. I want us to do that. I want us to make it through that test, because love's a test. Usually people get to that point and they just throw someone away. It's awful. That's awful. But we are taught to throw everything away in this society, and I'm tired of it. I believe in compost, so I'm here to show that love and intimacy can be like that inside yourself and in relationship with others, and that these disorganized attachment parts can be guides where we face fear, integrate it, and become even more strong and good at love and secure. And give something to secure attachment that it never even is beyond what it can even do until it integrated this part. That's why these pair work real well with the earth and water. It's so important. Next, we're going to look at air and fire, which on the crossroads square, the earth and water thing I'm just talking about, and that's going to be in the fire category. We've got Mars or Aries, the Sun and Leo, and Jupiter and Sagittarius. Okay, those are anxious. That means they want affection. They want you to say yes. They're the yes of there. They're the yes. You know, secure is sort of like yes and no, kind of very balanced, holding it down, whatever, neutral. That's what the earths do with emotion, with intimacy, with attachment. You know, and the waters will be like, baby, I'm scared. Yes, big yes, flood, flood, flood. No, run away, freeze. Like all of it, right? Really quite a lot of diversity in the waters. The anxious just want the yes. They want the yes. They want the yes, and it's so intense, this magnanimity, and they want it back. They want the praise. They want to give and receive it, and they want it unbound. Big yes, okay? Okay, so anxious, that's intense. It's turned on to yes. For masculine, you can see this is where the fire lives, and it's the masculine testosterone side of our chemistry, where it just is a yes. It just wants what it wants, and it can go all day and night. Yes, 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 yes. Holy cow, is that real? And what an intense polarity and burden that can show up, and that can make a very dominant force. We all know. Voidant is what's opposite in air. So that's Libra, Gemini, Aries. Or Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. The air signs are avoidant. That means they'll shut down and go away. This is turned off. Ghosts. Done. Not doing it. Just shut down to it. Nope. You know, it's the no. So we got yes and no. Secure is yes, no. Disorganized, fearful, avoidant, the opposite of that the waters do is like yes, no, maybe, and then fire is like yes. And then we can see the airs are like no. I find this interesting because it relates to the solstices and moons and equinoxes. This is all polarity dynamics. So we got the summer solstice holding polarity, the winter solstice, so that's yes and no, definitive, you know. And then we've got like the equinoxes that are like these sort of disorganized, fearful ones are secure. They're like maybe, and yes and no and all of it, and then like secure, like both. Yeah, of course, we've got both. And like there's always this possibility of all these different options of like yes, no, yes, no, no, yes. You know, these four, they form the medicine wheel, as all four does. And this forms a whole picture we can look at in your astrology chart, like a labyrinth, like a map, to study about how you might trap power and have these bindings, how you might relate to these things, how these inherent attachment qualities, attachment styles give us space. One thing that the air signs are going to do is give you space to define. They're dealing with social reality and the mental concepts and the paradigm. What concepts can you wordsmith there to reinvent what you think is normal? All your actions and expectations there that inform your adrenals, that your Libra kidneys are going to do, and that scales of balance in your adrenal reaction are going to check out your third eye of Queen Amygdala saying, this is what the ancestors taught, and this is how I'm going to react to that. And then you just have for all of your F-bombs of fight, flight, going off of all different kinds. We don't need to have the ideas do that to us. The swords and the tarot, that's the air suits, they're the worst on us. We need to just understand what avoidance does, because in one sense, its virtue gives us space to go out and be independent, to just drop someone, to just heal through separation and severance. You hit the sword, you just like, no, and you just are a no, and you take space, and you're just done, and boundaries. And like the world's really embracing air right now and its attachment healing strategies. You know, you just like exile your family, you just cut them off, you just dump that asshole, you just give up on it, you just don't talk to them. I have boundaries, you know, you respect my boundaries, and like, you just like, people are getting canceled, and people are just reclaiming their healthy ability to just drop their family and be done. And like, there's a lot of healing that can be done through air. I've done a lot of it. Society and families erased my gender and sexuality, so I had to cut off from a lot of things and just had to take space to define. tons and tons and tons all the time in my life, and I have a lot of air. Um, that's given me space to live in new sovereignties I otherwise wouldn't have if I was another gender that just belonged. I had an initiation that made me separate and have a lot of definition through separation and severance. I need that space to self-define. So I've had really positive virtues of air, and really, of course, lonely and just like despair places come from that experience too. Um, there's also with the swords this opportunity though to really harm relationship by being too sharp, too cruel, too quick to do that, and we're really facing the shadow of that in air right now. In terms of looking at cancel culture, all kinds of weird distancing with the internet. In one sense, it's like great that we can separate and just communicate safely across distance, but in another sense, it's really harmful, and we're seeing the impact of air strategies on relationship, both good and bad. Lots of new creative social mobilities, crazy leaps in how you can come into new power and identity. But air and relationship avoidant patterns, as an avoidant pattern, what it gives is autonomy, reinvention. It's sort of like polyamory is a concept. Like, we don't need to have the ego. It checks fire. We don't need to let that overwhelm us and have that run the show. We can be rational. So we've got a lot of academic feminism really coming out of this in queer theory, which is great. But it's also really cold and actually doesn't know what to do with the primal fire desires as much, or the water ones. And I find it's really disembodied too. So we've got a curse of the airs really, and it's quite avoidant as a culture. We're getting very avoidant about love, where people start to micromanage it before you even get a chance to be overcome by it. And that's the real rituals to go into the fire and be transformed. We're in the forge, Bridget knows, so I find it very sacrilegious, very disconnected from truth of the body and stuff. This avoidant culture to an extent where it wants to control things by what it thinks is right and then micromanage everything to feel safe. It's just a brain idea. It's so egotistical. It's awful. And we know from intimacy studies in the Gottman theory that the most harmful thing in relationship, number one harmful thing in relationship, is condescension and superiority issues. And really the air, it's the most, right? Look, it's up above. It's the most above. And it'll take fire, even get cold and distant to it, and like, whatever, you're growing the garden, whatever, I'm air, I'm doing a thing, I don't care. It just doesn't care. Avoidance just doesn't care. It comes from that deep subconscious, disorganized, fearful, avoidant place that square it in the waters, that comes through the air sign part and goes, I just don't care. And that part actually will sever. It does hold the sword. And, so we have to understand the power in our mind too. Now we have Pluto and Aquarius. The garden of the underworld is ruled by an air sign, and so we can trust the water bearer Aquarius to be fair. We want this for liberation healing. I'm a real Aquarian person. I even have messages of Aquarian humanitarian neutral logic. This is what this is. It holds the balance where we all can be survivors. We're all screwed by this. This was a scam that set us up. They didn't even teach us about attachment. They didn't teach us about triggers. They didn't teach us. We're just finding out. And in astrology, there's the map for the whole scene. And my ancestors showed me that, and these amazing patterns that you can see right in front of your face once you look. So I'm really stoked to learn about ancestry.life. We got ancestry.com. People are kind of interested. Ancestry.life really is where we can start to see that these tools and maps that really were in the old labyrinth infrastructures they built in the Stonehenges too, to track the light and the happenings like I do here. This, or in the astrology wheel as we do, with the weavings and synastries of light and sound and timing, that do create the alchemy of life. That is you, that is an event, that is anything, an entity you can make an astrology chart for. It has these dynamics in it. These are the patterns of life in alchemy. It's brilliant science and technology. It's really, as we are emerging and having languages for attachment style and trauma, this old system of the old world with the ancestral tools actually describes it the best and shows the patterns of it marked out through seasons. And this is natural. It shows permission for sanctuary in this, where you can still be that fool amidst this good, bad mirror world and be both, and find that place to run through the middle where you are true and where everybody holds a truth, an old truth, and you can coexist with really beyond fear in a more authentic state. This is a secure attachment that has all the other parts built into it. This is really getting out of a disempowering narrative, I think, and holding that center place where they meet in the center of the crossroads, where they bridge, and that fifth space is the heart that bridges above and below, and this and that, and you and me, and the whole thing. thumb below, this and that, you mean the whole thing. The medicine wheel, we are that in the garden. We can start to live our whole truths. So I hope you found this interesting. Go check out and read more about attachment theory and get into this. And of course, study the astrology charts as I'm giving you new tools and awareness of now. Reach out if you want to work with me more. Like and subscribe my channel. Check out my offerings on my website and on Patreon. I love to work with you more on gender, identity, sexuality, power, powerlessness, witchcraft. Liberation and healing is where this is at and going. And we have everything we need to get there and always have. This is a remembering project. I look forward to getting to know you and see you more. See you later.